Shvuah Tov, everyone. Welcome to Tillis Tells Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is The Trade. I compiled and adapted the story from the book From My Father's Shabbos Table by Rabbi Eliyahu Tauger and from LechaimWeekly.org. Despite his vast wealth, Reb Shlomo, a chassid of the Baal Shem Tov, was burdened with the deep sorrow of childlessness. Often he sought his Rebbe's blessing for children, but to no avail. Nevertheless, Shlomo persisted. On one of his visits to Mezhibush, he implored the Baal Shem Tov to bless him with children. This time, the Besht, abbreviation for Baal Shem Tov, agreed to grant the blessing, but attached a condition. If you agree to forego your wealth, you will be blessed with a child, promised the Besht. Shlomo was overjoyed at the thought of his wish being granted and eager to accept. However, the Baal Shem Tov cautioned him, go home and discuss it with your wife. Shlomo rushed home to consult his wife. Hurry back to the Baal Shem Tov and tell him I agree wholeheartedly, she quickly responded. Shlomo immediately set out to Mezhibush and finally received the long-awaited blessing. On his journey home, he stopped at an inn to rest. He conversed with some fellow travelers who were passing through the city and without introducing himself, asked about the latest news. Haven't you heard about the misfortune of Reb Shlomo? His entire fleet of ships loaded with tons of wood was lost in that recent heavy sea storm. So it's actually happening, thought Shlomo, prudently hiding his delight. As he neared his hometown, he was greeted with stories of fires that had consumed all his possessions. Shlomo, however, was anything but sad. The blessing will come sooner than I imagined, he thought. Neither Shlomo nor his wife complained about their misfortune. On the contrary, their thoughts were filled with eager anticipation, and within a year, Reb Shlomo's wife gave birth to a baby boy. By now, Mazel Tov. By now, Reb Shlomo was reduced to begging for alms, for charity. He joined a group of beggars that made their rounds in other towns. During their wanderings, they passed through Mezhibush. Let's go to the Baal Shem Tov's house of study, one beggar claimed, his Beis Medrash. He always gives generously. The group joined the line in the courtyard and passed in front of the Baal Shem Tov, who handed out charity personally. Tzedakah. Recognizing Shlomo, the Besht instructed him to return later and speak with him privately. When he did, the Baal Shem Tov told him, though it is decreed that you be a poor man, you are entitled to a dignified level of poverty. Travel to Krim, and there your fortunes will change. May you be successful. Obediently, and with great anticipation, Shlomo set out on the road. Upon arrival, he sought out the local shul, where he was greeted very warmly by the attendant and introduced to a wealthy man who would host him for Shabbat. It was a splendid Shabbat, spent in joy and abundance. His host spared no effort to make Shlomo comfortable. A good host. However, after Shabbat ended, Shlomo noticed a marked change in his host's demeanor, from that of joy to deep concern and sorrow. You've been wonderful to me, Reb Shlomo said to his host gently. I'm sorry to see you so troubled. Please share your problem with me. It may help to lighten your burden. The wealthy man explained that his daughter had a terrible health problem. I know of someone who can help you, Shlomo exclaimed. In the town of Mezhibush, there is a very great tzaddik, a holy Jew, the Baal Shem Tov, who has assisted many people, even in health matters. Let's go together and you can seek the holy rabbi's advice. With a hopeful heart, the rich man accompanied Shlomo to Mezhibush, and there presented his problem to the Besht. The Baal Shem Tov instructed Rabbi Tzvi Sofer, his attendant, to accompany him, and the four set out for the rich man's town. The Besht, his attendant, the wealthy man had become poor, and the wealthy man in the town. Upon arrival, the Besht told his attendant to go to the mikveh, the women's mikveh, and declare, the Baal Shem Tov has demanded that you leave this place. As soon as he uttered those words, a voice was heard from the mikveh. The Baal Shem Tov has power only over Poland. I will not obey him here. When Rabbi Tzvi returned and related what the voice had said, the Besht handed Rabbi Tzvi his walking stick. Should the spirit refuse again, he told him, strike the water with my cane. Rabbi Tzvi did as he was told. When he struck the water, it turned crimson. The Besht then instructed that the mikveh be cleaned, and the water changed. The health problems that the rich man's daughter had experienced disappeared totally. How can I repay you for what you have done? Cried the rich man. I need nothing, replied the Baal Shem Tov. However, please tell me, how is it that you have amassed such wealth? I owned a small dock at the harbor. One day, gusty winds blew a fleet of boats and logs into my dock. I sold the boats and the merchandise and netted a huge profit. The Baal Shem Tov nodded and pointed to Shlomo. These boats and logs belong to this man, he said. Though you are free to profit from the luck the sea brought you, he nevertheless is entitled to a share. The rich man hearkened to the Besht and happily paid Shlomo a very generous sum. This enabled Shlomo and his wife to live normally, while they enjoyed the pleasure of children and grandchildren. Shavua Tov, have a terrific week. And echoing the concluding sentence of the story, may all Jews and everyone else also merit to enjoy the pleasure of children and grandchildren. And may we see a speedy release of the hostages and a quick victory for the soldiers.